Right, construction champions, it's your host Ron Nussbaum, and we're here for another amazing episode of Construction Champions Podcast, where as always, we're burning the damn house down and rebuilding it. I have to say it every time, but that house is not a customer's house that's upset or a project that went south. That house is your life, your business, your relationships, everything all packed in there because we're going to rebuild it into the champion that I know you're meant to be and the champion that you are. Mondays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Eastern. You can find us with brand new episodes. And as always, you're not just tuning in for Ron Nussbaum. I know this. I understand this. I checked my ego at the door years ago. You guys are here for the amazing guests that we bring on and the knowledge they share with you. And today is no different. Dan, it is fantastic to have you here with us.
Thank you, Ron. Appreciate that.
Awesome, man. Why don't you take a minute, tell all the construction champions out there a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I can do that. My name is Dan Mcllroy. I am the founder and president of ProAdSpec. We are a promotional marketing company that is located in the Madison, Wisconsin area. We work with clients across the country to help them use promotional products to better their marketing, get a better result out of their marketing. Been doing that. Been doing it for, that was 34 years, July 1st. So a lot of experience, a lot of working with our local contractors. Been a member of our local National Social Remodeling chapter and helping them with things within the chapter. So been working with people in the construction world for quite a bit as well.
I love it, man. I love it. We've had some conversations prior to this, and it's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on is because you bring so much knowledge around something that is in every construction business's life, like the promotional marketing aspect of it. And it's just something that doesn't get talked about enough, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of opportunities that, when I look at locally and what, some of our contracts are doing here, somebody coming to my house and doing work, it's like there are opportunities for marketing you're just not doing, and they're easy.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm excited to dive into that. But before we do, I'm going to ask the $1 million question, and that is, what makes a construction champion? Hey, construction champions, it's your host, Ron Nussbaum here, and I want to talk to you about how you can automate all of your marketing. We've had so many people on here talk about getting the systems in place. Well, we have partnered with Build 12 and Construction Champions podcast. Les O'Hara, the founder, what really excites me is his 30 years in the industry. And now he's built a system to be able to nurture your leads and continue to utilize that. I personally use the system myself. Build 12 is absolutely amazing. There's a lot of value in there, and it's a way to start getting away from Angie's List and all of that kind of stuff and start actually creating your own leads every day and have a system for them. So go on our website, check out the show notes, go check out Build 12 and what it can do for the front end of your business today. It's absolutely amazing. I highly recommend going and meeting with Les and his son, Devin, and talking to him about what they built for their own business so the rest of the industry can take benefit from that. Here on Construction Champions, we're all about helping each other out. And what is better than contractors helping contractors? I say nothing. So let's go take this to the next level. Go check out Build 12. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or Les or his son, Devin. We're here to help. We want to continue to grow the industry.
I, in my opinion, got to be somebody that's paying attention to what they're doing. I mean, I've had enough construction projects done on my house, and I have a 1905 old Victorian that we have torn down to the studs and rebuilt. We have brought it back to a status, a comparison that when it was built back in the 1900s. When we got it, it was remodeled in the 1970s. So I'll give you the visual of the deep shag carpet, the walls that were covered in wood and false ceilings. And now that doesn't exist anymore. But we put a lot of time and pride into that, and I got to believe the construction champion does the same. Take a lot of pride in their work, put it out there so that their clients are raving about them, talking about what they do, and making it a little easier to find some more business.
Yeah, no, I love that because it is about knowing exactly what you're doing and taking pride in that. Because if you don't have pride in what you're doing, how are you ever going to, like you said, tell other people about it? Get them to tell other people about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got client testimonials and other people raving about you in the neighborhood. When somebody comes over to me and says, "Wow, who did that work on your house?" and I'm really happy with it, I can give your name and number time after time after time, and you can count on it. So,
Well, I'm sure being in the business that you're in, there's probably better stuff that you can leave a homeowner with to be able to pass along to other people.
yeah, absolutely. I'm amazed at the amount of contractors that have either come into my house or come into my neighborhood, and they don't tell my neighbors about what they're doing. I mean, every once in a while you'll see somebody put a sign out in the yard for the time that they're here, but that's about all I see. And there are just so many easy marketing opportunities because everybody knows. I mean, if somebody's doing something in your neighborhood, you know it, right? I mean, if somebody's over there cutting down a tree at 7 a.m. in the morning, everybody knows it. If somebody's working on your siding, somebody knows it. I mean, it's easy. You know what's going on in the neighborhood. And it's like, wow, I need to do something about that too.
Yeah,
And you're not telling people who you are.
I mean, I would say yard signs are the minimum of what should be put out when that crew shows up, or even when that sales rep leaves. Uh, I
Absolutely.
I even think gifts for homeowners, depending on what the scale of the projects you are, is there's great things that you can leave a homeowner that leaves that lasting impression that keeps you the top of mind.
Yeah, quite honestly, I focus more on the neighborhood than the homeowner. Because the
Okay.
homeowner's not going to forget. I know exactly who redid my kitchen, right? I don't need you to leave me something. I mean, it's nice to leave behind a nice gift, maybe a pizza cutter, something in the kitchen, a cutting board, something like that would be nice. I don't know that it's terribly necessary, but my neighbors don't know who you are, and maybe they got to do a similar project. And
Mm.
man, it takes 10 minutes to walk up and down the block, 5 houses each way, and drop off something that says, "Hey, I was at your neighbor's house. I, did some work for Dan. We did some siding for him. If I can help you, here's my number." That's
I
simple.
No, I love that because that's what we used to we did a lot of jackhammering with what I
Yeah,
used to do beforehand. So we made it a deal that before a crew started any projects, they would go at least 3 houses each way and 3 houses across the street, not just leave like a door hanger, but also leave earplugs as
right.
hey, we're going to be making some noise. It's
There you
something
go.
that people remembered because it
Yep.
was like, well,
Yep.
they were noisy, but like they left me these earplugs at least. So it was kind of a branding in itself.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like you said, it ties into what you're doing. I mean, one of the things that I really love is a nice little wipe on, wipe off board, that you can literally personalize the message by just writing on it with the marker, leaving that behind. It's got your information on the front. You put some safety information on the back. It ends up on somebody's fridge and they keep it for groceries, leave messages for their kids. There's so many ways that it's going to get used in the kitchen, and it's just going to stay there forever, and they're going to
Yeah.
have your information when they need it. And it's $1.29 each. I mean, it's a cheapo, and I'm sorry, it's an inexpensive promotional item, not cheapo.
Well, I mean, that's what you want, stuff that's going to add value, but is it going to break the bank? So because exactly what you're saying is like that was one of the reasons why we did that general marketing around where we were working,
Right,
because the kind of work we did, we knew if one house was having that issue, every house was either having it or was going to have it in the future. Like
right.
it was just that was a known thing. So you want to be that company. You want to have nice looking vehicles when you roll up. How are your guys dressed on the job site? How do they act? Because people are watching that.
You bet. You bet. That's what it's all about. And that's what I'm not seeing happen is just going around to the neighbors' doors and earplug. I mean, I love the earplug idea for the jackhammer. It ties in really well, but something simple as, like I said, something that goes in the kitchen, drop off a pizza cutter, drop off something that's going to get used that just says, hey, we're in your neighborhood. If we could be of assistance when you have a need for what we do, come find us. Right. And it's not a hard sell. You're not knocking on doors like some people do and going, hey, I see your windows are really bad. Dude, I just replaced my windows 3 years ago. What do you mean they're bad? The hell are you talking about? I actually had that happen recently where somebody from a local window company came up to my house and I put $50,000 worth of windows into my house. And he's like, oh, I see your windows are going bad. It looks like they need replaced. Like, not a chance. Go away.
You know what I love about what you just said there a little bit ago is like get something that can be used or something that can make its way into the house. Because I think like too often we think of like these marketing materials as like a throwaway thing. How do we get our brand in front of them? And how you're thinking about it is not only how do we get our brand in front of them, but how do we do it in a way that it's something that they can use that they're not just going to throw in the trash can immediately.
Right. Practical and useful are absolute key to promotional products as a marketing tool. And consumers have so much stuff in their kitchen that when you're dealing with a consumer household, that's where you want to be.
Okay.
Either the kitchen or the bedroom. Those are the top two rooms that people have promotional products in. Now, obviously, I'm not sure I want to go into the bedroom. That might be a little tricky, but the kitchen's easy. It's a cutting board, it's a pizza cutter, it's a pot holder, it's a memo board, it's a jar opener, it's a et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? I mean, there's so many different ways that you can get into the kitchen with your name on it. There's no reason not to. And you can budget it from the very inexpensive to, what? The job I do is worth 50,000. I'm willing to spend $10 a pop on something. So I can give you a very nice, wine opener, and drop that off at your house saying, if you need me, call me or whatever. I mean, there's lots of examples out there, literally thousands of products to choose from.
Well, that's probably, so I was not aware of like the top spots where people keep promotional stuff is in their kitchen and bedroom, like that right there. Guys, that's worth the price of admission today for this episode. Like that's 34 years of experience in this industry right there. If you're going to buy promotional items and they're not designed, I don't know what you would get for the bedroom. That could get into a mucky conversation.
You can get into all kind of things there, but
like if it's
safer in the kitchen.
Yeah, if it's not for, we'll just say the kitchen, like you're probably wasting your time. You're probably wasting your money on doing that.
When it comes to consumers, that's the place you want to be. When it comes, if you're marketing to businesses, you're trying to do commercial roofs and that type of thing, then the place to be is on the desk of the boss. You want to be on that real estate desk, whether that be a mouse pad, whether that be a phone holder, whether that be something to hold pens and pencils, something that's going to be on the desk. Again, practical and useful, so it stays there. But that's your target to get to if you're going after businesses.
I believe that, because as I look back, and it would be the only stuff that didn't make it into the trash can was stuff that I could utilize on my desk. And what did that look like, and everything else. And people would come in when you're going after commercial projects or commercial clients, you got to understand they're getting tons of this stuff. Like you're not the only one walking through with something. Can you be the person that walks through with something that's, you said practical and functional, right? That's the terms you've been
practical and functional. Yep.
I love that.
Yep.
That, like, to me, to think about that and now think about like what everything that I've seen, and I mean, people waste a lot of money on this shit.
Unfortunately, they do, because there's a lot of people that, when you have, an idea comes to your head that you want to do pens at a trade show, let's say at a home show, right? I'm going to put some pens out on the table as people walk through the home show. And we all have those home shows in our local networks, right? I mean, can't tell you how many happen in Madison over the winter, but it's like, a pen's not going to do it, folks. I mean, it's not going to cut the mustard. I got thousands. I got a whole box full sitting next to me waiting to be donated to the local school. But I mean, I did something for a client that was going to do a home show. They were a remodeling company. They wanted to get into doing tiny homes, and their marketing person set up a meeting with me, and they wanted to do, in a standard 10-foot space, and 200 people being in this show. They were like, well, we want to do a banner on the backdrop, so it's not just a backdrop, and we want to put some flyers out in the table cover. And I went, what do you think you're going to get? I said, I'm not familiar with tiny homes, but I'm going to take a guess that one of them costs at least 5 figures. I'm not thinking it's less than that. So now you got a bunch of consumers walking through this show, and you probably have a very limited target audience that are looking to spend 10 grand or more on a tiny home to put in their property someplace, right? Like, yeah. I said, so you better qualify first out, because if they're not interested and they can't buy, you're wasting your time on them. So if you spend 10, 15, 20 minutes talking to a consumer and you qualify them and they're a target for you, they're interested, don't you think giving them a nice gift for their time would be a better way to spend your money than just throwing stuff on a table? And quite honestly, initially they went, I don't know what this guy, I'm not sure this guy's right. They came back to me a couple days later and went, okay, we think you're on the right track here. What do you want to do? And I said, first of all, let's get you a professional backdrop. You're not going to do a banner in the back. We're going to set up something nice for you, and we're going to make that look good. And then we're going to do some decent gifts. And we only ordered 15, 20 gifts because it's like, we're only going to get 10, 12 max out of that show. And I went, that would be great. If you can get 10 or 12, you've done really well. So we ordered them some gifts. We ordered them the backdrop. Our show was on a Friday, Saturday. I came into an email on Monday going, thank you. We have a lot of work to do. And my response was, what do you mean you have a lot of work to do? We got 20 qualified leads out of that show. And it's because we did what you said to do. I'm like, yeah, there you go. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to put out widgets and gigas on a table and pray to God that somebody finds the pen in their bag of 500 different things from walking through that show and goes, oh, look, I got a pen. I need to call this guy. It doesn't work that way. So be smart about it.
We used to hide our pens at shows because we didn't want anybody to get to them, and we would put out bare minimum amount of stuff. But we had a really nice looking booth, and then we had typically some kind of book or something that would be a value add. If somebody fit that ideal customer, they would then get that book that they could take home with them.
Right. That's the gift. Yep.
And it's like, you walk around these trade shows and it's like with the backdrop, like it is just not a great representation. And I always challenge people, and I used to always challenge all guys, like, walk around and tell me, would you do business with our competitors based on their booth? Like that, like this is homeowners are walking around, and most homeowners will go up and down a few times to figure out who they want to even talk to before they even walk up and engage with you. And it's up to you to set that precedence with having a nice, not just a banner thrown up back there that looks like you started 2 weeks ago.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No, that was kind of my point to them. It's like, you're asking people to spend a significant amount of money. You better look like you deserve to be paid, because if you don't, they're not even going to stop. I mean, it's not even a consideration. I mean, I'll put my consumer hat and I'll walk by your booth and go, I don't see it. I know I'll go to the next one and see what's going on. So yeah, exactly what you said. People walk up and down those aisles and they're impressed or not impressed by what you're presenting. And, if you're got your table out front and you're sitting down behind the table and all you got is some flyers out on the table, hoping somebody, it's like, A, the table's out front. B, that means I don't really want to talk to you. I got my phone out, sitting in my chair. Yeah, the boss said I had to be here, but I don't want to be here. It's like, what are you doing?
It's crazy. So I
wish. Can be.
Yeah, well, you're around this. This kind of stuff, I think it's a lot of times overlooked in today's market of what we can actually do with promotional items like this. Where do you see the trends? Like, what headed into 2025 here, like what are the trends that you're seeing in promotional items that guys should be aware of?
Well, we're seeing a whole lot of the retail world come into the promo world. From, untucked shirts to Patagonia sweaters, those can now be, embroidered. You're seeing a lot of electronic world. We can get Apple products and co-brand those along with Apple. And you have some limitations when you get into that name brand stuff as to what you can do with it. But in my world, I don't go after the trendy stuff because it's trendy stuff. It's not going to stick around stuff. I'll go back to the tried and true that's worked for 30 plus years, and that is put something in the hands of your prospective client that is going to get them to remember you, and to know who you are. If something goes into the kitchen and it stays there for a couple of years, no, they don't look at it every time and consciously read it. But every time they pull out that pizza cutter on Friday night because the family ordered pizza, they unconsciously see where it came from. And the next time they need a plumber, oh, yeah, right. John's name is right here on the pizza cutter. I'm calling John.
Yeah, where's the pizza cutter? I know our plumber's information is on that.
My toilet is plugged. I know I got something from this guy. And that's how promo marketing works well. When it's there and being used. If it's there and it gets shoved into a desk drawer and it never comes out again, it's a one-time shot. You better be really spectacular then, right? But it doesn't have to be like radio and TV where you constantly have to pay to get it over and over and over. If you do it right, it's a one-time payment and it gets seen over and over and over. And that's what you want.
I love it. Because that's the truth. But we go into this and like I said, so many people just buy through. They don't put any thought into it. And that's what I love about you help people work through that instead of just letting them buy stuff or do something that's not going to have the end result and effect that they want to have.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to say, no, that's the wrong thing to do. I because that's the part of the job that I enjoy. That's the part of what I do is the thought process of, oh, wow, you're a construction company. You're doing tiny homes. It's something new for you. How are we going to get people into your booth so you can actually get some? You have to think that through a little bit. You have to realize that there's some aspects to that not everybody's going to want a tiny home. Not everybody's looking to buy windows. Not everybody needs a new roof. Those are big time expenditures that when the time comes, I'm going to do my serious research and make sure I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. I'm just not going out to Menards and throwing 20 bucks in something and saying, oh, great, doesn't work. Right. It doesn't work that way. So for me personally, that's my giggles of the job. Right. That's when I get that email back on Monday morning saying, wow, that worked really well. Or, somebody calls me and says, man, you made me look like a rock star with this idea. That gets my giggles going, right? You want to order pens for a trade show? I have no problem saying, nope, won't do it. Won't work. I won't do it. Go order it from someone else because you're not putting my name on that order and getting out of that trade show with no results and then blaming me because I placed the order for you when I know better.
Yeah.
So I can live with that.
We would not do we would do pens for everybody in our company. That was what we would do is we supplied all the form and anybody that needed, we had branded pens,
right?
We would not give them away. They were for our employees.
Yeah, there's a purpose to them. That pens have their use. There's no doubt about it. I'm not trying to bash on pens, right? Pens are,
but it's not. If you're so right, you can't just if you're just out giving them out willy nilly. Nobody. I use my own BuilderComms pen here. But I've never given them out to anybody. I have them for myself because I like to see my brand.
No, but like I said, that's 34 years into this. I enjoy working with clients to try and figure out, okay, tell me what you're trying to accomplish. Tell me how we're going about it. Tell me what you got as a budget. What are we trying to get to the end goal? Let me come back to you with some suggestions. I'm not off the top of my head going to throw stuff out. I'm going to give some thought to it and figure it out and look for things that are going to tie into the business, like the earplugs tie into the jackhammer, right? That's a perfect tie-in. To be able to say, all right, I think this idea will work for you. Or I've used it somewhere else. It's not a competitor of yours. Because I deal with clients all over the country. It's like, I did this for somebody in Michigan. This will work fine when you're in Wisconsin. This will work fine in California, whatever the case may be. We can replicate and duplicate without any problem. And it turns out the way they need it to turn out. And that's what drives me in the business to continue to do what I've been doing for this long a period of time.
Awesome, man. I love it. Yeah, you bring that knowledge of not just the 34 years, but you also bring the knowledge of working nationwide. And I think that's something that can be missed, especially when you go to somebody just that's local in your market that might be working with everybody. They don't see what's working on that national level, what's actually driving results in real time around the country. And you have the capacity to understand that.
And there are some opportunities presented to me that way, no doubt.
Awesome, man. Well, Dan, it has been fantastic having you on the show today. For all the champions listening, if they wanted to connect with you, learn more about what you do, see what you offer, where's the best places for them to do that?
They can call our 800 number, which is 800-462-3772. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can send an email to me. It's D Mcllroy, MCILROY @ProAdSpec.com. Any one of those will get in touch with me. And I will reach back out and set up a time to talk and go from there.
Awesome, man. Well, once again, thank you for being on the show today.
My pleasure. Thank you for the invite.
All right, construction champions, another episode in the bag. And who would have thought that we could have such a fantastic conversation around promotional marketing? I think we all look at it in the wrong way. And Dan brings a hindsight and a knowledge and an experience in this career where we can shift that perspective on what exactly are we trying to do with promotional marketing. It's not about giving away pens and it's not about just slapping up some banners and hoping that we land some customers. When it's done right, you can become a lasting imprint on your customer long before they even need your service. I love the pizza cutter example, because every Friday night they're using it, and then all of a sudden they have a plumbing problem, and it's, all plumbers on the pizza cutter, and you might not even be their plumber, but you're the plumber they remember to be able to call because of that pizza cutter there. So I think one of the big takeaways from today's show is we got to do stuff that gets in the kitchen. We got to, if you're going after homeowners, you want to get promotional items that get yourself in the kitchen. Or if you're commercial and you're going business to businesses, how do you end up on the boss's desk? So I would ask yourself, how would you end up on, or how would somebody end up on your desk? What would that look like? What's something that you would value enough to give up real estate on your own desk? So all you construction champions out there, make sure you check out our great sponsors. And until next time, be the champion you're meant to be.
Introducing BuilderComms, your all-in-one construction communication software. Say goodbye to communication mishaps that cause frustration among builders, contractors, and clients. The BuilderComms platform unifies communications, making it easy for you to chat, share updates, and collaborate effectively in one place. Experience the transformation in construction project management with BuilderComms. Visit us at buildercoms.com to learn more and start streamlining your projects today.